Healthy.
Matt, Argentina brought in two props from overseas clubs, one from Saracens and one from Stadfrancais, I think.
Mm.
How does that strengthen the traditional strength, I suppose?
Obviously, bringing in quality players from overseas does improve your in this case the scrum. We've done the same. So but they're going to be formidable no matter who's going to play for them. History has taught me that when you watch them in Super Rugby compared to in what you face them in the Argentinian jersey, they're a step above. So we're expecting a tough challenge. It's always a tough scrummaging battle against them. That is something they pride themselves on. The head coach is a scrum coach himself, so obviously it's something I've seen a change in their system, that he's been driving a pride in their system. So but we've got to focus on what we do. We've had a good session today, and I was proud of what the guys put out there today.
Technically, do you prepare differently for a scrum against the Argentinians than a scrum for...
No, other than technical, probably bind issues and certain things. Two things we highlighted today in our process that are important for us this week. But other than that, the props will have certain technical bind issues that one prop might come from a different angle, or one prop might... Other than that, we'd stay exactly the same. So from a pack perspective, it would be just the two things we've highlighted that are important for the week at scrum time, and then the other stuff will be just front row work.
Are you happy with the impact that the two props from the bench, Stephen Kitshoff and Jonas de Toy, that type of impact that they made in the series against England? Is that something that you guys look to in the future, will look to do in the future as well?
I think if you understand Russ's philosophy of building a squad of 35, 36 players come World Cup time that are battle ready, that's what we're looking for. So I think the way modern rugby is, the intensity of the game increases through the second half, and if you don't have a bench that can do that, then you're in trouble. So our philosophy has been to build 5, 6 props that could rotate. This week this guy could start, next week that guy could start, and then always in our selection policy we would look to make sure that we have guys that are fit enough to be able to increase the intensity come second half.
Like just having a guy like Flo back, Malcolm Marks and Ian Netzwerk, does that change a lot in terms of how you're going to play?
Yeah, I think they're all experienced internationals now. Flo has been incredible end of year tour when he came in. My first stint 2016 against Ireland, I was asked the importance of the man, and I said a lot of people look at a 6 as being our 6 international 7 as being a fetcher, but his work he does on the attacking ball, on the attacking breakdown, to create quick ball from the first breakdown, that's the real importance of an open side, and the ability to interlink with backs, be able to be there to carry on the attack. And that's what impressed me about Flo, was the intelligence, and then to do his homework and to read where his entry was into the breakdown, to understand where the back's first strike is. That impressed me about. He's not just a strong, powerful forward. And so having that back and seeing how he's grown. I asked him a couple of questions about what they've been doing up north, and brought a lot of knowledge into the team. And when a senior player gets to that point of his life that he wants to not just achieve for himself or achieve for the team, but help improve the environment that he's in, yes, that's a massive asset, and just grateful that he's here.
Flo, Springbok pack seems to be coming together quite nicely now. A lot of quality depth in the front row, second row, now some newcomers and loose forward ranks. How do you see that competition shaping up?
I think it's quite a favourable position to find yourself in as a squad, to have so much depth, and I think what Rassi has created along with the rest of the coaches over the summer series. I'm calling it the summer series because that's what it's called over there, the June test. Having so many guys being able to slot in and out, I mean that's the environment you want. Having depth like that drives excellence, drives the guys hard to push for places within the side, and I suppose overall creates a better quality of team. So I think to be in that position is fantastic for us as a side. I think you can pick pretty much any combination of forwards, and you're going to get a solid outcome. It's going to be really fine margins that's going to define a starting pack every week going forward now.
Flo, the Boks have had some poor results in Durban in recent years. Obviously, the All Blacks won, and then Argentina a couple of years ago. Is that in the minds of the players at all? What sort of discussions go on as far as playing in Durban is concerned?
Yeah, I don't think that really plays a factor. It's a new year, it's a new team, it's new opposition. Obviously, as a side, you learn from your mistakes, past mistakes, but that's well far back, and I think we've come a long way. There's definitely a bit of a rejuvenation within the side, which was quite evident in the England series. So I think, if anything, we'll hope to build on that performance, those performances, and just move forward from there.
Well, you kind of mentioned it, but now as you're talking, you've been in a lot of Springbok teams and setups. Now you're into Rusty's team. What have that's really stood out for you in terms of this Springbok setup for this rugby championship?
Look, I think that there's definitely an underlying energy within the side, and ultimately that does come from the top, and Rusty's brought that in. There's an immense focus on detail and accuracy around that, and I think the squad that's been put together have all completely bought into that. It requires a lot of hard work, and guys are buying into that and putting in the efforts, and I've got no doubt that that was a major factor within those previous tests to allow the guys to win that series. And as I just mentioned now, that's something we hope to build on. Guys are excited to play. I think that's the most important thing, and they want to be here. They want to prove themselves. And as I also mentioned, the depth in the squad allows the guys to drive each other to push their own abilities and own limits, and ultimately become better players and perform better collectively for the Boks.
Flo, you've obviously worked with Rusty before. I mean, what's his message been to you in terms of what he wants what he wants you to add to the squad? I guess both as a leader and a player.
I think as a player, probably just do what I do best, and then do it better. Stick to my game. I think we all have a purpose within the side, and I think ultimately the focus is on building a squad that's going to take us to the World Cup and win the World Cup. Over the last few games, different combinations have been tried out, and I think that's going to happen going forward. But that'll be up to the coach to decide how and when those play out. But I think from a leadership perspective, we had a meeting last night. There's actually a lot more leaders in the side than people actually realise. You quickly think a leader is someone who's got 50, 100 tests, but it's not necessarily the way it plays out. I mean, there's a lot of guys who have been involved in World Cups before, young guys coming through. They've all stepped up to the plate. I think ultimately what we want to try and create is a leadership culture, rather than have senior players running around commanding the younger boys and putting people in places. We want that to be a sort of something that's bred from the inside with the team, and sort of filters out through everyone, that everyone takes charge and command of their positions, whether they're in the starting lineup, bench, and even in the non-playing squad. Those guys are as important. There's a lot of disappointed guys every week when the squads get selected, and you need those guys to also be at the top of their game. So I think from my side is try and help create that culture, which is what we want going forward.
But what has impressed you the most about the newcomers in Michael van Staden and Calvin?
Yes, I think the boys are hungry to play. They don't really step back. I've had a few training sessions with them now, and they're keen to learn. They're humble guys, both of them. They don't think that they deserve to be here, but they want to earn their right to be here, which is ultimately what you want in a team player. There's no doubt that they great rugby players, and there will be great rugby players to come. But I think that's what impresses me the most is definitely their approach to the situation. To be involved in a Springbok setup. I remember my first week I was in camp with the guys. It's a big moment for you in the way that they've done that so far, the way they've carried themselves, and their hunger to be a part of that and make the best contribution they can in terms of serving the team. That's the kind of player you want.
Matt, do you think atmosphere without weighing, do you think the balance, how tricky will it be to get that balance right, and also to get somebody that can go forward ball on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important combination we get right, from a pack perspective, is to get that balance where we have the physicality, where we have the ability for somebody to play wide. Loose forwards are their roles have increased. They're not just forwards anymore. They've got to run like backs and create width on attack, and so the balance is important for us. I think we have a lot of guys who are quite versatile in their roles and can adapt. Flo's experienced now. Sears an experienced player. Warren's an experienced player that can adapt and serve different roles. You've got Notch, who's he's got his own skill set and probably a lot more exciting than a lot of the other players. So we've got a lot of versatility in this side, and the pack's perspective is to create a platform that these guys can bring that skill set to the party. So it has been something we've thought long and hard about. I'm looking forward to see the combination we've selected play. I think I'd like to see the tight forwards create that platform that we can really inject our loose forwards into the game. And when South Africa plays well, that's a typical style of rugby we play. So it's a big responsibility for the pack, but especially the tight forwards. But the balance has been really a focal point for us.
Matt, how much does Malcolm Marx add being back in the squad now? Seems to be widely regarded as the world's best hooker at the moment.
Oh, Malcolm's a very special player. Very humble man, guy who sets high goals for himself. In the training session, I just had focusing. We made one or two mistakes. So just Malcolm, just back yourself. You're a great player. It's just wanting to be in a good space. But saying that the 2 test matches we won in June with Bongi, I thought Bongi showed his quality there. So if you look at Stephen and Beast, which one starts, which one comes off the bench, I think we're pretty much getting there with our 2 hookers as well. So that's a great place to be. As Ross has said, the process is to build on that, to create that level that we're having 2-3 guys in a position playing at. That come World Cup time we will be in a good position. And when you play against a tough opposition like Argentina, that's exactly the environment you want to test your guys. Especially up front it's probably one of the ultimate tests for a pack of forwards is to play against Argentina. If a guy comes through against Argentina, you can make it. So Malcolm definitely will create that. But I like the competition between him and Bongi, and it's exciting for me now to work with Akka and have a player just a little bit different than the two of them, who can add some spice to it. So no, it's been very very privileged to be in this position to work with these guys.
Matt, you mentioned Argentina. Since they came here last in 2015, how much of an improvement have you seen, and what do you think they'll bring different this time?
No, they're a proud nation. I've spent a lot of time in Argentina and got a lot of very good friends there, and incredibly proud nation. And you saw the first year they went Super Rugby struggle getting there, how they would function. This year they beat all our sides. First time they've made the playoffs. Same coach. They've got a lot of continuity in their side from Super Rugby to into the Test arena now, and they're comfortable winning away. So that's the thing that is difficult to face them in the first game, is that they're comfortable at winning away. They're comfortable playing in South Africa. It's easy for them to get here. They've spent a lot of time here. They're in our pool. They know our players. So I think that's the difficult thing, is that the first game of the championship tends to, have you got continuity back? Are you running again? They're going to be there. It's the same side, same coaching staff that have just started in from Super Rugby. So they've got a lot of continuity, and it's we want to hit the ground running. We really want to put out a solid performance in the first Test match, and I think that's the challenge is how physical they are on the contact line to the tack on the ruck to to be able to create continuity, to be able to play against them.
You say they're a different animal when they pull on the Puma
Yeah.
jersey. I mean, there are a couple of personnel changes, but what contributes to that, in your opinion?
I mean, you would know just as well as I do the history, you know. You've been there and you've been to Argentina, you see them sing the anthem. As I say, I've got a lot of friends there, and you know, a lot of them are rugby people, and they might not have embraced the Jaguares, but the minute the Pumas play, that whole country just gets behind them, and they feel that, you know, when you feel the country having a good feel good effect, and you know, that promotes the players. The players are back. They want to perform for their people. They want to perform for their jersey, and that's what they do, you know. But they're tough, you know. They really, really are tough.
Matt, you mentioned Mario. He obviously had a stint in Australia and Impact, so obviously he would have learnt a lot there. The way the Aussies play, and how much value do you think that would have added to him as a coach? And what
Yes, I think, you know, knowledge in our game is as a coach is gold, you know, and having the ability to see something from a different perspective. When I started coaching and having played overseas, that's gold to you. You know, at that level I started coaching at Varsity Cup, it was gold, because I had international experience. Bringing in players with international experience, you've got a broader field to work from, you know. And he's going to have that. But I think the biggest asset that he has is he's got the backing of his players. If you watched in June the way the Argentinians side played compared to the Jaguares play, that you're gonna get that feel good factor. He's obviously got the buy-in from his player group, and I think that's the biggest thing we've spoken about as players, is that he's got a group of players that back him, a group of players that play for him. And with their history of being, you know, a scrum-orientated country, you know, having a prop as the head coach is probably not a bad thing, you know. So, I think that's what's going to be there. Is they're going to have that continuity. They back him. All their little issues that growth problems they've gone through in Super Rugby. So by the time they hit the championship, all their little pitfalls have been sorted out, and they know the way they want to play, and that's going to be good for them.
But the biggest problem has always been in Super Rugby as well, the discipline, maybe a bit reckless sometimes, and unnecessary yellow cards. Do you think a guy like Mario is going to maybe sort of help them with the discipline-wise, especially in Test match rugby?
I think the way they play is they're physical, you know. International rugby tends to be a little bit different to Super Rugby. It's more physical, it's more intense. So I think the way they play will actually suit Test rugby. You know, we are well aware of how physical they'll be. We've spoken a lot about the contact point, the tackle point, the breakdown, and that's where they push it. They push it to physically dominate you there. So you can't get away from that physicality. You've got to confront it. So it's going to be a great Test match. I mean, Durban's a fantastic place to play, fantastic stadium, a good crowd. You know, so it's going to be a great Test match, and we're just looking forward to it. We're looking forward to this team's been training well for the past couple of weeks, and they want to play now. You know, so.
Flo, do you, Russ has said that you back up number 8 as well. How do you feel about that role, or do you just want to see yourself as a number 6?
I suppose you want to do what's best for the side ultimately. You know, I'm obviously a number 6, my preferred position, but if it comes the way that I need to fill in that role and cover there for whoever's in that position, then you know, so be it. Happy to do it. I've given the chance to do it last year. I think it went alright. So you know, hopefully I can build on that. And as I said, if the time does come that I need to slot in there, do a good job of it.
What would be the strengths of a flanking partnership between yourself and CR?
You know, we've played together before. You know, I think CR is just an immensely physical player. I think we play quite a different game. You know, he's been playing on in the number 6 jersey the last few tests. You know, I personally think he's more of a ball carrier. You know, he's really quick. He can take those half gaps and run alongside the backs. You know, he's got a big presence on defence. Whereas I think myself, you know, maybe our games complement each other, but I'm probably a bit more breakdown focused. Perhaps play a little bit tighter. So I think in that way, I think we could definitely feed off each other and cover for each other.
What does somebody like Warren at 8 bring?
Warren's obviously a fantastic player. He's a very good line-out option for us. When he does play, and obviously as he is with the Lions, I think he's more of a back trapped in a forward's body. He's a really good connection. He links up that forward pack quite nicely with the backs. He's good in those outside channels. He's good in that midfield grouping with the forwards. Interconnecting with those backs. Ball in hand, he's everywhere. The work rate that he brings defensively, commanding defence around the breakdown, getting guys in line, and he pitches up to games. He's going to give you 80 minutes of whatever he brings without taking a step back.
Louw, kan ik dit vragen in Afrikaans alsjeblieft? Ja, net om die feit dat hij nou weer terug is en hoe is het in kamp en wat denk je, wat kan je brengen en jouw indrukken?
Ja, het is fantastisch om weer terug te wees hier in die groep. Soos ek vroeër gesê het, ek kan regtig voel as 'n ander energie in die span. Ek dink iets wat die manne begin het in die toetse gedurende die Junie reeks teen Engeland. Ek dink dit is baie belangrik. Die manne druk mekaar. Ons baie diepte in ons span. Die manne, hou aan om te werk om beter spelers te word en dit as 'n groep druk ons om 'n beter span te word. Nou dat ek terug is en ek sien hoe hard die ouens gewerk het. Ek dink baie van die ouens het half 'n bietjie van 'n mini pre-season gehad. Ouens wat vroeër uit die Super Rugby uitgeval het, daai ouens het hard gewerk. En om nou deel te wees van daai groep maak 'n man opgewonde. Ek dink dit was goeie rugby om te kom. Ons sien uit om die eerste game saam te speel. En ek wil net inpas en my beste kant bring wat ek kan en help die span help om die beste resultaat op die naweek te kry.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
So next one is Steven.